Meet Kaushi, this mid-Gen Z, 12-year-old L who got abandoned hard and then hit with the ultimate cap as dormitory mother to a dorm full of chaotic older women. So now he is surrounded by mommy milkers bigger than Sydney Sweeney's while his Riz stays non-existent and he phantom taxes his whole childhood like a budget Sigma. Yet it is pure I show speed meltdown vibes as he gets mogged daily in this skibbity dorm trap. 12-year-old Kushi has been scraping by on the streets ever since his crib burned down and his old man bailed instead of handling his responsibilities like a real one. He gets starving and worn out from choking down garbage scraps, so he passes out cold on the sidewalk. Then a fine woman named Minoru spots him and hits him with some excuse about research. She hooks him up with a proper meal and tells him to hit the shower. Things go off the rails quick because he walks in on 3 women already in there and catches heat for his scrawny build. Then he stumbles straight into a 4th woman named Atina and faceplants right up under her skirt. Chaos kicks off heavy and everybody starts fainting left and right. Once it calms down, the crew introduces themselves as the residents of the Goddess Dormitory at Seiken Women's University. They are Minoru, Kiria, Frey, and Serene. Minoru straight up offers Kushi the spot as their live-in dorm mother. The problem is Atena cannot stand being around men because of old trauma, so she loses it immediately. She packs her stuff and gets ready to leave instead of sharing space with him. After hearing the full story, Kushi turns the gig down flat instead of kicking her out of her own home. Then he chases her down to let her know. His selfless move hits Atena deep, especially coming from a homeless kid like him. That same night, she finds him shivering on a park bench and carries him back. Then she catches a massive nosebleed when his hand lands somewhere real inappropriate. Back at the dorm, the girls welcome both of them with open arms and Kushi swears he is going to be a dorm mother worth having. The next day brings more wild comedy. Minoru's lab mix-up floods the place with toxic gas. Frey stuffs him into a cat-made outfit and almost flashes everything while measuring him. Kushi ends up scolding the half-naked women for catching colds before he panics and starts apologizing. Atena gets fed up and determined to bring some order, so she declares war on all the public nudity with whatever she can grab. That turns the whole evening into straight pandemonium, while Koshi watches from the kitchen, feeling oddly at peace with the madness. Kushi tries to settle into his weird new setup and catch some sleep despite Frey's latest costume creation leaving him even more uncomfortable. Then the ceiling suddenly collapses and Kiria crashes right through. Her thick legs trap his face as she lands on top of him. Her room sits directly above his and her freakout comes from a ruined shoujo manga. She was raised around a bunch of martial arts brothers, so she only tapped into her feminine side through those books in college. Her emotions hit so hard they literally wreck stuff, which she proves by punching a hole clean through the wall. She worries about falling again, so she asks to crash in his room for the night and treats him like one of her brothers. She even presses his hand against her body out of old habit until Koshi flips out and sets a firm boundary. They swap mattresses so she can stay in his spot while he takes hers. Half asleep in her room, he unknowingly agrees to let Serene, that moon tech woman, fix Kiria's wrecked room in exchange for becoming her personal servant. She steals a kiss from him while he is dozing, which he later figures out was not just a dream. Morning hits softer because Kushi cooks breakfast and gets genuine praise from the whole crew. Atena is clearly relieved he kept things clean overnight. The girls reward him with all kinds of wild favors involving experiments, costumes, and sparring. Atena tags along for grocery shopping to watch him close. Her nosebleed issue flares up around men no matter the masks or plugs. After she almost collapses, Koshi pulls her into an internet cafe for shelter. There she opens up and tells him to call her Aniki and promises she will protect him from here on out. Another accidental wardrobe slip sends her into another nosebleed, but their bond locks in solid. By dinner, Atena proudly steps into that protective big sister role over Kushi in front of everybody. The rest of the girls jump in claiming the same spot, which leaves her satisfied that the dorm is finally getting some real order. Koshi's morning chores turn awkward fast because laundry duty forces him to handle the girls' underwear. Minoru teases him nonstop before he hangs everything up and hides the lingerie carefully. Thinking back, he realizes 2 whole weeks have passed since the fire and he still has not gone back to school. At breakfast, Atena pushes him to call her Oni-chan too. After he gets flustered, the other girls who overheard through the thin walls call out her hypocrisy. That kicks off a full competition over who plays the best older sister to Koshi. The contest turns into pure farce. Frey dresses him up and gets disqualified for lying about the sibling vibe. Minoru gets tossed for treating it like another experiment. Serene sleeps through her turn. Kiria almost smothers him with a martial arts hold until Atena saves him. She accidentally yanks her own top off and triggers another nosebleed in the process. Through all the wildness, Koshi starts appreciating having these sisters around him. Then Minoru drops that she and Frey secretly handled the paperwork to get him back in school, which leaves him truly grateful. Back at school after the long break, his good mood gets cut short when his childhood friend Suteya greets him with a hard kick. She is upset he never reached out and hides her worry behind anger before she storms off. Their connection runs deep from way back, tied to her heat sensitivity, since Koshi used to cool his hands just to hold hers when they were kids. A teacher later explains that Minoru pretended to be family to smooth his return. When Koshi chases Suteya down to explain, she lashes out and runs to the rooftop where the sun makes her condition worse. Then he shows up with ice packs, calms her down, and finally lays out the whole dorm situation. She is skeptical as anything, so she demands to see it for herself. Despite his efforts to stop her, she follows him home. She arrives right as Minoru's latest experiment blows toxic purple smoke everywhere, with Minoru and Frey casually stepping out wearing next to nothing. When Athena comes home and finds Suteya hanging around, the awkward introductions spark a wave of teasing. Minoru and Frey instantly pick up that Suteya has a thing for Koshi and start crowning her as Athena's new rival. Athena denies any romantic feelings and insists she is just playing the big sister role. The others are not buying it though. Then Kiria barges in claiming she is the real contender for that spot. Suteya stays unimpressed and declares herself the judge of whether Kashi should even stay at this dorm. She proceeds to inspect every room. Minoru's is still toxic. Frey's is stuffed full of cosplay gear. Athena's is surprisingly normal and pleasant smelling. Kiria's is filled with martial arts equipment plus a secret shoujo manga stash that softens Suteya's suspicion just a little. Serene's expired rice crackers nearly push Suteya over the edge, but Kashi talks her down. That night, she agrees to stay over and picks Athena's room out of pure distrust. She grills her about Koshi's past while he showers downstairs. Then a dizzy spell sends him crashing onto a bathing Kiria, which sparks fury from Suteya and a nosebleed from Athena. Days later, Athena and Kiria skip lunch over some unrelated tiff, so Koshi sneaks into their all-women's college disguised in a wig and skirt to deliver food. He gets comically exposed as a guy right in the middle of the mission before Athena rescues him by passing him off as her little sister. Delivering Kiria's lunch turns into even more chaos with spilled water, changing clothes, and a pop button. Athena's shirt comes undone in front of Koshi, which sends her into a full nosebleed once she realizes he has seen her. Back home, the group notices Athena and Kiria acting strange ever since Suteya's visit. That prompts Athena to suggest a group vacation including Suteya as a kind of reset. Athena's vacation idea gets unanimous approval from everyone except Serene, who bolts to her room. That prompts Koshi to follow and discover it is stuffed with bags meant to soak up lunar energy rather than junk. He also gets confirmation that the kiss he thought was a dream really happened. Serene admits she feels anxious about leaving her moon-charged comfort zone. So the group brainstorms ways to fake that lunar connection on the road with ideas ranging from a Sailor Moon costume to an aging potion that backfires on Frey instead of helping anyone. Kiria tries Tai Chi as a universal energy substitute, but Serene collapses and admits the cosmos is too much for her moon-sized wiring. The fix finally comes through Athena's umbrella printed with a starry sky, which convinces Serene the trip is a go. That night, Koshi gives Serene a jacket he quietly repaired and she sneaks in to kiss him again while he sleeps. The trip itself starts with a twist, when Athena accidentally books a spooky rundown manor instead of the trendy inn she meant to. That leads to an eerie atmosphere, ghost story jitters from Kiria and Frey, and a relaxing but tense communal bath where Minoru's and Athena's towels nearly betray them and send Koshi into nosebleed territory. The whole group ends up crashing in his room so he is not lonely, which turns the night into a chaotic slumber party. When Athena slips away mysteriously, Koshi and Minoru go searching. They stumble into the abandoned annex and get spooked by sculptures and spatial weirdness before Athena finds them. She leads Koshi into a quiet room and gets vulnerably close while asking what she is to him. She nearly kisses him right before Minoru flips the lights on and reveals it was actually Serene lurking outside the whole time. The trip wraps with everyone heading to the beach for round 2 of fun. At the beach, Koshi plays unofficial lifeguard and cannot stop sneaking glances at Athena despite telling himself it is just sisterly concern. Meanwhile, jealous Suteya spirals into a near-drowning incident after a fish gets stuck in her swimsuit. Koshi tries to save her despite not being able to swim, and Kiria ends up doing the actual rescuing. Suteya brushes off the help angrily but softens once Kiria reveals Koshi noticed her trouble first. Later, beach lounging brings sweet vulnerable moments, with Koshi setting up shade and chilled ice packs for Suteya. Suteya admits almost by accident that she keeps her hair long because it matches the look of Koshi's childhood crush. The emotional wait gets interrupted when some guys start harassing Athena. That prompts Koshi to step in and defend her, despite the boys mocking his role. As a result, he firmly declares himself her protector as dorm mother, though Athena's casual-like family framing leaves him quietly stung. Back at the dorm, a private conversation between Athena and Suteya reveals Athena's growing fondness for Koshi and gratitude toward Minoru and Frey for originally helping him get back on his feet. Meanwhile, Suteya concludes there is nothing romantic going on between Athena and Koshi after all. Koshi cannot shake his confused feelings and grows distant and distracted around the house, which worries Frey and Minoru. Frey decides to intervene and drags Koshi to a cosplay studio to help him open up. She dresses him as a character whose storyline mirrors his own dilemma as a little brother in love with someone who sees him as family. Under gentle pressure, Koshi finally admits he wants Athena to see him as a man, not just family. He is torn between protecting the bonds he has built and wanting more. Frey drops her usual bluntness and offers real comfort and and big sisterly support. By the end, Koshi resolves to face his feelings honestly and stays ready to protect Atena, whether as a man, a dorm mother, or family, even if he is still figuring out which role fits. The Seekin festival is popping off hard, and Koshi and Sutia are straight up overwhelmed by how massive the whole thing is when Frey rolls up in this tight-ass cosplay that matches her spot on the executive committee and offers to show them around. First, they hit Minoru's shady elixir stall where she's pushing weird potions that come with some wild side effects, and she quickly stuffs a bunch into Koshi's bag. The second, an official pops up and catches her in the middle of a sale. Next, they walk into a paranormal society presentation that drops the bomb. They've been secretly investigating Serene as some kind of cryptid for years, so the trio bolts in a panic to warn her once the club spots her out in the open. Outside, things turn sideways real fast. A thick pink mist rolls over the whole campus and gets everybody love-struck as hell, and Koshi accidentally downs one of Minoru's potions, which, mixed with the wig Frey just happened to have on her, turns him into instant catnip for a bunch of swooning women, leaving Sutia out here fighting off the crowd to protect him until Serene steps in with a laser blast to shut it all down and drains her own energy in the process. Koshi helps her recharge while dodging that awkward hint that some skin-on-skin contact with him could refuel her. The group then rolls over to Atena's maid cafe where Koshi watches her nervously but smoothly shut down some pushy dudes, showing real growth in how she handles men, before they catch Kiria stealing the spotlight at a cross-dressing contest. Things heat up when Koshi, still riding the placebo high from that elixir which Minoru later admits was just water, starts feeling himself in a haunted maze, throwing hands with a costume demon and confidently leading the crew while accidentally groping Atena in the mix. The chaos wraps up with Serene getting chased by researchers, dead set she's an alien, and Minoru hitting them with that pink mist again, this time sicking the whole mob onto poor Kiria instead. Kiria finds out her family can't run the dojo's annual kids' Christmas party because they won some trip, so she's left holding the bag by herself until Atena and Koshi step up to help. A bathroom slip-up leaves Atena weak and embarrassed after Koshi walks in on her, so she stays back while Koshi and Kiria head out shopping, and the whole outing slowly starts feeling like a date in Kiria's mind with nostalgic snack runs and a quiet moment under the Christmas lights, even though they overhear folks saying they look like siblings, and that leaves her twisted up about how she really wants Koshi to see her. They settle on Kiria playing Santa, even though she worries a feminine costume won't fit her tomboy vibe, and they pull Frey in to design it. Later, the crew heads to Kiria's old dojo now packed with hyped up kids, where Koshi and Serene jump into martial arts practice, and Koshi spots this lonely little girl who thinks she ain't good enough for a present. He reassures her that putting in effort matters way more than being perfect, flips her whole mood around, and gets the rest of the kids fired up to decorate. On the big day, Santa, Kiria, and Elf Serene hand out gifts. The lonely girl finally makes friends, and one kid's bright idea that Santa should ride the reindeer ends with Koshi awkwardly carrying Serene piggyback while he's painfully aware she ain't wearing much underneath. Afterward, they sit outside in the snow. Kiria thanks Koshi from the heart for making the whole thing special and admits it was really his work that lit the kids up. So as a reward, he ties a hard worker badge around her neck in this sweet charged moment that almost turns into a kiss before Serene rolls up munching snacks and kills the vibe, closing the episode on a soft, snowy night. Koshi is out there freezing his ass off doing outdoor chores when Minoru and Frey surprise him with a kotatsu, kicking off a cozy group hang that quickly turns into some teasing footsie action under the table, while Atena sits there visibly jealous every time Kiria or Frey gets too close to Koshi. The warm, nostalgic feel gets Koshi thinking about homework, so the next day he invites Sutia over, and even though the kotatsu is rough on her heat sensitivity, she agrees in exchange for ice cream. The drowsy study session turns awkward fast when Sutia tries to help Koshi while he's asleep, accidentally brushes a sensitive spot with her foot, panics the second Atena walks in, and ends up crushing him under the tabletop in her fluster. That mess earns Koshi a literal ban from kotatsu sign hung around his neck thanks to Minoru's teasing. The episode then dives into a full-on spring cleaning frenzy. Frey dumps her disaster of a room on Koshi before bouncing to a cosplay event. Serene gets jammed trying to escape through her stuck door, ends up dangling out the window until Koshi catches her, and Minoru's lab is straight booby-trapped with an automatic decontamination spray that soaks everybody without warning. Cleaning Frey's room uncovers a stash of outfits she secretly made for Koshi, including some questionable underwear that has Sutia heated. The real emotional peak hits when they finally force open Serene's stubborn door and find out she's been quietly stockpiling gifts and decorations out of gratitude because the dorm got way livelier once Koshi and the rest showed up in her life. The night winds down with Minoru getting drunk off some discovered New Year's alcohol, pulling a tipsy, jealous Atena and a super clingy Serene right onto Koshi for cuddles, and just as he settles in with Atena curled up against him, Sutia walks in on the scene and warns him shit is about to get real complicated. Koshi is worn out from days of cleaning, so he sweeps outside in the cold while sneezing and wondering how everyone plans to spend New Year's. He learns one by one that Minoru is staying for her research. Kiria is avoiding babysitting duty at home. Serene is not going anywhere either, and Atena is sticking around too while secretly finishing a knitted gift for him. Koshi feels grateful that the dorm has become his real family since losing his home, so he decides to cook something special for the holiday and heads out shopping with Kiria. He sneezes along the way and feels a little guilty for not inviting Atena. Mid-shop, he suddenly collapses and drops his groceries. Then he gets rushed home where the girls discover he is running a high fever from overworking himself. Serene diagnoses an upper respiratory infection. What follows is a chaotic, affectionate nursing effort. Frey insists on playing devoted nurse in a revealing outfit despite Atena's objections. Kiria squeezes apple juice while accidentally spilling it on Atena. Suteya faints dramatically after touching his feverish forehead. Through all the fussing, Atena's shirt comically falls off mid-panic. Later, Frey and Serene help him shower. Meanwhile, Kiria gets unsettled by handling his clothes, so she tosses him something random to wear. That backfires when he catches another chill, trying to push through his chores outside. As the girls scramble to make him soup, a missing egg mishap happens because Serene ate them raw thinking they looked like the moon. That leads Minoru to swap in a sketchy potion instead, which explodes the moment Koshi walks in and tears off Atena's clothes in the chaos. He is too far gone with fever to even notice though and passes out completely. The clinic is closed for the holiday, so the girls decide someone needs to watch over him properly. Despite pushback from Kiria and Frey, Atena insists on taking full responsibility herself. She reflects quietly on how far she has come from being terrified of him to genuinely treasuring their time together and feels grateful she once chose to carry him home from that cold bench. By morning, his fever breaks with her by his side. He wakes determined to get back to work, so New Year's is not ruined and gratefully accepts the gloves she finished knitting for him. The episode closes on a warm note as the whole group, Atena, Minoru, Frey, Serene, and even Sudia checking in, heads out together for one last grocery run. Koshi pauses to appreciate just how much the Goddess Dormitory has truly become home.